Hi, I'm Stephanie Catalano, licensed clinical social worker and personal development author. Welcome to Mindful Makeover, a podcast for women who want to learn how to live mindfully, become deliberate thinkers, and align with their true essence and most authentic self. The fact that you're here with me not only tells me you're ready to begin reaching your highest potential, but also sends a powerful message to the universe. I've had an opportunity to work with hundreds of women to help them tap into their inner power and create the life they desire, and nothing makes me feel more alive than to be a witness to a person's individualized transformation and growth. If you're ready to achieve your mindful makeover and create the life you desire, then let's get started. Each episode will leave you feeling educated, empowered, and elevated. Hi everyone, welcome back to this week's episode. If you follow me on Instagram at mindfulliving.now, you might have seen my story where I talked about thinking big and dreaming big, but not just thinking and dreaming big, actually waking up and doing big so that you can achieve and obtain those big things that you're dreaming about and thinking about. I thought it would be really important to dive deeper into this because I truly believe this is an important conversation that needs to be had. Every person has a powerful transformational story inside of them. And I truly, wholeheartedly believe every person is filled with their own dreams, their own ideas, goals, and visions, but very few actually take action so that they can experience the things that they are thinking about and dreaming about. This used to be me, being a creative person and an entrepreneur at heart. I spent many years dreaming, but I was always 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I had this belief so deeply embedded in me that things had to be a certain way and you have to wait for the right time, only to one day wake up and realize I had given fear way too much power over me. Fear was completely controlling me and holding me back, and to be completely honest, it was totally robbing me of my own time. I'm sure you can relate because I believe we all fight fear at some point. This is something that happens to most people, if not all. And I've said this before and I'm going to say it again because it's really important. It wasn't until just recently that we started to hear about people talking about the power of now, the power of the present moment, how to make fear your friend, and how to overcome self-doubt and self-limiting beliefs. I always say, imagine if this type of stuff was taught to us in school, like going back way into elementary school, middle school, and high school. It would have been a game changer for all of us, but it wasn't. So that's why we're here talking about it now. And definitely better late than never. For me, for you, for all, for the world. But it's time to really talk about these things and really get clear on what's keeping people from living their life. What's keeping you from living your life? I want you to slow down and really ask yourself that question. What is keeping you from living your life? I'm sure we can relate that fear definitely plays a part, but it goes much deeper than that. I believe it's emotional trauma on some level. It's not the same for everyone, but every person has experienced trauma in some form. And a lot of times people think trauma is violence or physical injury. And yes, that is absolutely considered trauma, but trauma is more than that. It doesn't end and stop there. Trauma can be maybe growing up, you played soccer and all you wanted was your dad to be at your soccer games and he was never there. Or perhaps you were the child that grew up in a home that had high standards and a lot of pressure for you to bring home only A's, and maybe you were that person who made B's and C's. And because of that event, perhaps you began to feel like you weren't good enough for your own parents. That's trauma. The fact is, trauma is just a wound to the mind, which, by the way, we have all experienced that. And because of the trauma we have all experienced, it leads to forming certain attitudes, beliefs, perceptions, responses that are formed. And this is how people learn certain patterns, even the ones that keep them stuck and prevent them from taking steps of action toward their dreams. The point that I really want to make with you is that there's a reason why people respond to life the way they respond. There's a reason why certain people get stuck. There's a reason why people continue to repeat the same behaviors that are holding them back. There's a reason why people most often are stressed out, are angry, are irritated, are feeling unfulfilled, are feeling like they're not good enough, are feeling like they can't say no to people. None of this happens by chance. All of it happens by life experiences, and specifically the experiences that start even before we were age 10. It sounds crazy, but our childhood experiences really become the roadmap for how we show up as adults. There's a number of reasons that people don't take steps of action toward their dreams. It could be fear of failure, fear of success, feeling like they have to play small so other people don't judge them. It could be because they feel the need to dim their light out of fear of having too much attention on them. This is just to name a few. The list is really endless. And now more than ever, it's time to start de-shaming and normalizing the struggles that we all face, myself included. I think especially nowadays with social media, everybody is wearing all these masks. People are only showing us what they want us to see about their lives. No one's really talking about the fact that life is hard, life can seem unfair sometimes, and we all are struggling to some degree. And I feel really, really led to have this conversation with you all because it's time to begin to bring our struggles to the surface so we can come together as a community to get stronger and to really, really, really find the power within us to overcome the things that are holding us back, to normalize the things that are holding us back, so that we can rise above and begin to live the life we want. And now more than ever, it's time to wake up. And what I mean by wake up, I mean it's time to look in. I know a lot of times the idea of looking in is really scary. People are afraid to look in because it does require a level of vulnerability. And I 100% get that. There was a time in my life when I completely, at all costs, avoided looking in. But it's time to have no fear when it comes to living the life you want. And I truly believe the only way to live the life you want is to look inward, because it is inside of you that everything you need is existing in there. And so often we're looking to the outside world for our answers, and all that does is keep us stuck. And I also believe it's time to start talking about the barriers and the blocks that are keeping people stuck. Maybe the barriers and blocks that are keeping you stuck, depending where you are. And these can be, like I said earlier, things just as like, I don't feel good enough, or I feel like if people really knew me, they wouldn't like me, or I'm overwhelmed by life and I feel like I don't have support. It's going to be different for each of us, but what matters is that every single one of us can connect at the place of feeling, because I know what it feels like to be stressed as you do. I know what it feels like to be sad as you do. I know what it feels like to be unfulfilled at certain moments as you do. I know what it feels like to struggle with always having to face the difficulties of life as you do. The point is, we are all more alike than we are different. And I feel really, really led to come together and have this conversation with you so that we can begin to feel stronger as women, begin to feel stronger as a community, and really as a nation, and begin to show up for ourselves so we can live the best life possible. If I've learned anything, it's that time is the most valuable gift we've been given, and we only have one life in this physical body, and one life is honestly enough if you truly enjoy every day for the gift that it is. But sometimes that can be really hard, especially if there are things of your past that are unresolved. So that's what I'm here for, to help you look inward and get clear on what those things are so you can begin the journey of dissolving them, learning how to better manage it, making peace, forgiving, whatever it may be, so that you can enjoy the day for the gift that it is. It's really important to me that I share ways with you that can help you identify what's in the way. Oftentimes people get stuck focusing on the symptoms, such as stress, sadness, frustration, anger, irritation, so on. And because people tend to only focus on the symptoms, this leads to only seeking solutions for the symptoms. And while it may work or be manageable for some time, it's not sustainable. It's really important to look beneath the symptoms and look as far and deep as you need to. I'm going to say that again. It's important to look beneath the symptoms and look as far and deep as you need to. For instance, if you're constantly feeling stressed, yes, it's important to learn how to manage your stress, but it's actually more important to identify the root of what's causing you to constantly feel stress. The same goes for sadness. The same goes for anger. Sure, is it important to learn how to manage those feelings? Absolutely. but it's actually more important to identify what is causing you to be stuck in those emotions. This is just a couple of examples. The point is, don't be afraid to look in. Looking in and going through is truly the only way out. I'm able to say this because I lived many, many years stuck and finding ways to manage my symptoms. I used to struggle with high anxiety, depression. I was quite angry for some time, so much so that it would come out in the form of rage. And I constantly was looking to the outside world for my answers. And I was always finding ways to just kind of put my own emotions in a box. And guess what would happen? Eventually, I would explode. And I wasn't able to sustain the coping of the symptoms. And a lot of times when people are in this mode, it causes you to go into survival mode. And then you're finding unhealthy coping skills. And I'm here to tell you, there's absolutely a liberation of energy and a sense of lightness when you look in and identify what's keeping you stuck, what's causing you to experience stress, sadness, or whatever it is that you most often feel, including feelings of unfulfillment. So before I end, I want to leave you with a couple questions that I really want you to take time thinking about. I encourage you to write these questions down, and when you have some time alone, spend some time pondering on these questions and answering honestly. So the first one is, what's keeping you stuck? The second one is, what's one thing I can do today to help me move closer to my dreams? What's one thing I can do when fear shows up? I'm going to say them again. The first one, what's keeping you stuck? What's one thing you can do today to help you move closer to your dreams? And what's one thing you can do when fear shows up? I've learned through my own journey, it is more productive to look inward with the lens of curiosity, which means to truly understand yourself, to understand, why are you feeling the way you're feeling? Why are you responding to life the way you're responding? What is causing you to be stuck? As opposed to looking inward with the lens of, what's wrong with me, or why is this happening? I can assure you with that approach, it's going to be not that easy to find the what or the underneath cause. And it's actually really shame-based to come from the place of what's wrong with me, or why is this happening to me? So do your best to come from the place of curiosity. And I want you to know, I totally recognize it's easy to get stuck. It's easy to fall back into autopilot. And it's incredibly easy to judge ourselves and to let fear take over. But don't forget, fear is a good thing. It's what keeps us safe from doing the things that can put us at great risk, like walking down a dark alley at night or jumping into the ocean when you visibly see sharks. We can thank fear because it actually protects us and keeps us safe. But don't forget, fear is not helpful when it shows up, when it's time to take steps of action that will lead you closer to your dreams and living the life you want. So do your best to make fear your friend. And when it shows up at an unnecessary time, thank it and let it go away. Thank you for joining me today. If you found today's episode to be insightful and inspiring, subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And I kindly ask that you please leave me a review so together we can help the next person. If interested in scheduling, coaching, counseling, public speaking, or workshops, check out www.themindfulliving.com and come connect with me on Instagram at mindfulliving.now, where I share daily inspiration, mindful skills, tips, and more. Mindful Makeover 30-day workbook and guide for women is available on Amazon, or you can find the link on my website and in my Instagram bio. Until the next episode, stay mindful and always remember the power that lives inside of you.